What's up, squad? This is Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to hop on because I just saw that Prime Minister Modi of India is being welcomed right now in the Knesset of Israel. The Knesset is literally chanting Modi, Modi, Modi. Absolutely amazing because some countries, some cultures just make this geopolitical stuff look easy. Israel and India is almost a match made in heaven the way these guys are linked up. Israel, of course, has been hedging his bet, and I think India has been looking for that place to enter into the global arena. Historically, India has been kind of the leader of the global neutrals per se, the non-aligned bloc, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think they didn't have the geopolitical health before to really impose their will or assert their interests, and they kind of just stood by the sidelines because they were too big to co-opt but too small to be highly influential. That is changing right now. India is the world's largest population. They have some of the highest growth rates every year, year over year in the world, and they are rising. I constantly talking about uh, a tripolar world with the United States, India, and China. And this is kind of India's coming out time. They're only going to get stronger, wealthier, and more capable from here on out. And Israel is the gateway. Israel, I think Israel likes being small. It gives them the opportunity to counterpunch a lot. The Israel is they're naturally skilled that way. They're more of a ninja than they are a Spartan. They're clandestine. They work behind the scenes. They're good at negotiations. They're good at building relationships. They're good at accommodating interests. And I think this is really something that it really shows why Israel and India lines up so well. Israel has one big problem: their relationship with the Palestinians, and that rubs a lot of people, Islamic people in the Middle East, the wrong way. And Israel has slowly been building out counterpolar alliances through agreements and negotiations and things like this, feats and displays of flattery, such as chanting Modi in the Knesset. Israel is reaching out and connecting all of the counterpoles beyond their antagonistic actors in the regions. Whether you go Turkey, they're connecting with Greece. Whether you go Egypt, which have been historically, I would say, benign to Israel. I won't say friendly, but benign to Israel because America and Israel has done a lot to keep Egypt in the box. So, but right now, Egypt is building relationships. President Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel, is in Ethiopia right now with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Whether you're talking about Saudi Arabia, who are Israel friend, right on the opposite side of Saudi Arabia, the UAE. Whether you're talking about Pakistan, who is Israel friends with? India, right on the other side of Pakistan. So they're creating an encircling circle around their circle. And this is why I say some people make it look easy because they're slowly putting these pieces in place. Do they need the United States? Not necessarily. They're going out there making these deals after the horrible PR they've been receiving for the last 2, 3 years because of the bloodbath of them pretty much turning the Gaza Strip into a parking lot. So beyond that, they're still able to build relationships, build agreements, and the Indians are aspiring. The Indians want access. They need all these things to raise their human development index. They're going to need access to technology. Modi's constantly harping on AI. He's recognizing as it is. It's not a good or bad thing. If you can utilize it, it's a good thing, regardless of the size of your population. So he's realized like that's going to be a market he needs to be in. So he's aligned himself with one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. So I just think this relationship that is evolving between these two countries is extremely interesting. Both are nuclear powers. Both of them are surrounded or embedded or in competition with Arab Islamic neighbors. I'll say Islamic neighbors. And both of these guys have a common interest. Israel, like I said, they're more ninjas. They're behind the scenes. They want markets. They don't necessarily need it themselves. They just want to be able to influence and access. And this is why you see they're so comfortable. Israel could have been a larger country. A lot of people think this is about territorial expansion. But I think the Israelis, all things considered, if it was about territorial expansion, they're moving slow as molasses, right? I mean, they really have the patience of Job, considering the wars they've been in the regions. Don't forget, they gave the Sinai back to Egypt. So they're willing to make some concessions to keep peace. These guys are comfortable being small. These little settlements, they're not out there annexing large swaths of land. I mean, you look at Trump's trying to take all of Greenland for peace sakes, right? Like these are settlements. Like even if they were to build these settlements, it's still relatively within the finite area of the Levant. So they're really not that expansionist as some would seem, at least not in the short term. But they are highly potent, highly capable, high technology, strong air force. They're obviously their counterterrorism, their cyber warfare, they are on point in that regard. They're well integrated in global finance, so they're capable as far as a per capita basis. And what India do is give them access to the largest market in the world of 1.4 billion people, and that's all they really want to do. They just want to be able to access it to be able to commandeer the Indian demography, because who wouldn't? It's a phenomenal market, and they have something that they can offer India that America ain't. It's only so much that India and America can trade off with, the United States and India can trade off with, until they're butting heads. These are two behemoths, and they have their own interests. Whereas Israel and India, they do not occupy the same space. In fact, they're complementary. They're complementary in what they do and how they operate. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these relationships evolve, as well as the security apparatus that Israel continues to build. As I said, when you look at it, you got Greece. They haven't even brought in Ukraine, which is a possibility. Some people talk about a regime change in Iran. You have India. You have a lot of people say UAE, and don't forget Somaliland. They're breaking up Somalia. So Somaliland, right there at the mouth going to the Red Sea. So you have Somaliland, and then they're also working on building a relationship with Ethiopia. And I think Ethiopia is going to be the straw that breaks the camel back one way or another. Ethiopia is in the middle of a tug of war right now. They're friends with Turkey and they're friends with Israel. And both of those sides right now seem to be pulling in opposite directions. President Erdogan of Turkey, is really trying to solidify the region under Turkish leadership, but he's kind of rolling out the carpet of a pan-Islamic vision, a one unified Muslim world vision. That's his vision for how he's trying to unite this region, sure enough. And Israel is trying to mitigate the influence of that unification within the region. And Ethiopia, being an Orthodox Christian country, they are not so much aligned to either one, but there is a strong cultural links between Ethiopian Jews, which some have been resettled by Israelis in Israel. There has been Ethiopian soldiers with pictures in Israeli uniforms. So there are Ethiopians that live inside of Israel. So they do have that cultural linkage. So it's going to be really interesting to see. At first, I thought this was an easy win for Israel with Ethiopia, because Somaliland was going to be Ethiopia route to the sea. And Turkey came down there, and next thing you know, Ethiopia was marching soldiers to Eritrea. And then now the president of Israel is there, and now he brought his soldiers back from Eritrea. So the question is, Ethiopia has this option of they want to go to the sea, how to expand to the sea, and who are they really going to embed their relationship? How long can they play the non-alignment game between Israel and Turkey? And I think whichever way Ethiopia goes, that's going to be pivotal for how things work out for the rest of the Horn. So love to hear your thoughts. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you enjoy the content. And until next time, take care. Bantu up.